It's a real pleasure to be here because I'm such a fan of ChangeNOW. I'm so excited that Springwise is a partner. It was last year in Paris, one of the highlights of my year, and I think what you're creating is just extraordinary, and it's so in sync with what we're trying to do at Springwise. But you're the kind of the event that we're creating online with Springwise every day, if in a way bring to life the innovators. So it's a huge pleasure to talk to you today, and I'm just going to run through a few questions, but we can drift, and we'll try and do this in 20 minutes, half an hour. So we'll get back to doing what we're meant to be doing to organize ChangeNOW 2021. But I think the first thing I'd love to know is a bit about your journey and how you got to ChangeNOW, and how did you come up with this incredible idea?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me, James. That's a pleasure also for me. So very quickly, well, I realized a few months ago that I think that even as a child, I was already willing to have a positive impact. My game as a kid, when I was 5 or 6 years old, with the marbles, the marbles were Greenpeace trying to save some some whales and stuff. So, and I think that life just drove me away towards other directions. And in 2015, a lot of things happened and collided together, which is that I did an MBA at INSEAD, where I launched the TEDx INSEAD, where I saw a lot of innovators trying to tackle those issues for the planet. This was at the same moment as the COP21 and many things like that I don't know how, but I felt that it was also for me the moment to work on these issues. And as an entrepreneur, I said, okay, I would like to do something for the ocean or for circular economy, but I didn't know where to meet my peers, investors, media. And so I said, okay, we need to create this huge gathering where people who want to really get involved in the transition can meet all the resources and the people they need to meet.
And how, just for anyone who isn't familiar with ChangeNOW, how would you describe it? What's your kind of elevator pitch for what ChangeNOW actually is, and what it does?
Well, just in a very few words, ChangeNOW today is the largest event for the planet. So every year we gather around 1,000 solutions that are tackling the SDGs, and we gather them, bring also other elements in this event, which are who are the investors, the mayors, city representatives, policymakers in general, media, corporate world also, because a lot of times there are great collaboration happening between big companies and startups, and talent and citizens. Also, that's a very important part of what we do.
I mean, having again experienced it last year, it was amazing to see all of this unique ecosystem and all, as you say, there for the planet. And but what was superb is the breadth of community that you have there, and the real influence. And I imagine that a lot of stuff happens as a result of ChangeNOW. Do you have good examples of things that have really tangibly made a difference following ChangeNOW?
Well, yes, we have a lot of examples going from fundraisers, or you said L'Occitane, for example. Well, there was a deal happening here at that moment with L'Occitane. There is a company in France called Jean Bouteille. What they do is that they are selling refillable bottles. So it's a zero waste concept, and they managed to strike a deal with L'Occitane there at ChangeNOW, and now they are deploying in 25 countries next to this meeting.
Just
another
brilliant.
one is with a French minister who came at ChangeNOW. He was trying to pass a law regarding the microfibers of plastics, that you send in the water for every laundry you do. And it was very difficult for her to make the law pass, because the industry was saying, no, this is too expensive, too complicated to do. but there was a startup, a startup from the UK, Planet Care, who's doing
Yeah.
that for 3 years. And so they met at ChangeNOW, and now next to that, to this meeting in 2025, all the laundering machines need to have this filter embedded in France.
So I mean that must make you incredibly proud, and I think the clue is in the name, change now. So it's really exciting to hear things that come out of it that are tangible and making a big difference.
Yeah, well, of course there is some pride in that, but also I think that this is even necessary because what we are doing is a super entrepreneurial journey. We were 2.5, I would say, just to start the first edition in 2017 with 2,000 participants. Now we're at 28,000 last year. And this is a very difficult journey, as all entrepreneurial journeys. That's super difficult, super intense, and having some real consequences of what you do every day. Well, this is just needed to boost you up and say, okay, this is why we are supporting and holding all that.
And I share that experience with our business Reset, which does sustainability strategy and innovation strategy and works very closely with Springwise. And we're only 3 years old. And we're working with big companies to help them embrace the transition and push the transition and change in order to be better for the planet. And it's an up and down journey as an entrepreneur. I started a little bit later in life than you, but it is the most satisfying experience. And your teams, when I meet them, are like mine, which are, it seems like they're there for the positive impact, and they really are committed to doing the right thing. And it leads me to my next question, which is around the acceleration of the change. Are you seeing enough kind of momentum, and what has happened in the last year since we last met in Paris? What's happened in terms of the momentum behind what you're doing?
Well, that's a super difficult question, James.
Well, yeah. I want to give you difficult questions. I can't just give you easy ones.
Well, it's difficult because definitely we feel that the sector of impact is accelerating, and really in a tremendous way. We feel it because, for example, in the second edition, the startups who were pitching to investors, they were asking in average for 300,000 euros.
Yeah.
The next edition, January 2020, the average was more around 1 to 1.5 million euros, which means that the startups in this sector are really taking up speed. They are being more mature. They have made some proof of concept. So this is for me a real sign that things are accelerating. Now the question, are we going fast enough? I don't think so yet, because definitely the curve shows that we are not taking back the curve are still going sideways.
Yeah.
I think that also we need to keep going on. This is actually the only solutions we have for me, because we don't have to think also that change is linear. At some point there are tipping points, and that I feel that we have already achieved a first tipping point, and maybe there is another one, and we have to push toward this one.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think the idea of exponential change, I mean, of course, climate change is exponential in the wrong direction, in the dangerous way, and people it's very difficult to understand that. But equally, innovation can be exponential as well, and we can reach tipping points. Talk to me from your point of view about the role of innovation in solving climate change and how important it is. And
well, I think I will never have very straightforward answers to your questions, because the question of innovation is, in a part, this is definitely needed. Innovation will help us solve some issues like for new materials, for circular economy. All this is really based on innovation. Also, another part of the equation we have to solve is, I would say, in going backwards in innovation also.
Yeah.
Because and we feel that well, I think that we can see that things that were thought like from the ancient times almost uh, make sense today,
Yeah.
and so I think that we also have to keep that in mind. Innovation will contribute, but it won't solve the whole aspect of the problem.
It's a brilliant point, and if you think about the biodiversity and the kind of agricultural debates at the moment, we're talking about rewilding, we're talking about no pesticides and all of those things in order to go back to how it was before we invented all this stuff and
Yeah.
our wonderfully consumer. So it's almost like a reverse of consumerism back to kind of more simplified ways of working and living.
Definitely, and for agriculture, that's for me, I think, indeed a great example. Um, the fact that, well, when I discovered that, and in the movie, for example, Kiss the Ground, which is a great movie.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I was in kind of state of shock when I realized that we were doing wrong for maybe 5,000 years, you know, uh, and that we are just discovering today how Earth is working. So for me, definitely, there is also this aspect of things in innovation, is that part of the innovation we have to to create today is more about innovation in knowledge.
Yeah.
We don't know how Earth and fields are really working yet. We're not knowing exactly how the ocean is working. Well, nature is still a mystery for most of us.
I mean, since you brought up the movie theme, I'm sure you've seen Seaspiracy as well.
Yeah, I did.
And interestingly, we met Plastic Odyssey at ChangeNOW, and Springwise is a media partner, global media partner with Plastic Odyssey. So we're very interested in the ocean topic. We're also working with the mayor of Bonifacio in Corsica on a regeneration project for the Mediterranean down there. And the more one looks at the ocean, the more opportunity there is to offset carbon or to absorb carbon, and to kind of feels like the ocean is much of the answer to some of the problems we're facing. Will there be a big ocean kind of theme going through ChangeNOW this year?
Well, definitely, yes. Well, the theme of the ocean has been one of the themes at the origin of ChangeNOW. Um, and it has been growing since the beginning. And this year, indeed, we will have a huge, a lot of content on this topic, with several sessions, with also a launch of a new global coalition of startups for the ocean, with UNESCO that they are launching their decade for the ocean. Also, and maybe for me, this is a topic I love also, which is the protected areas in the ocean. And we'll have the president of the islands, Palau Islands, who did a great job on this aspect also. So yeah, this is a real topic. I think that this is something we really need to focus in some way in the ocean, because um, it contributes to a lot of well, in climate it's super important, in the food, in agriculture, because it's the cycle of water. This is super important. In biodiversity, it's super important. A lot of things are happening in the ocean.
I mean, the more I learn about it, the more I couldn't agree more. And I'm so delighted to hear that it continues to be a big theme for you. And we at Springwise, and Justin, who's listening in, we do loads on the ocean, and we publish. We're seeing more and more ideas, innovations, and again, we're not just about the latest technology. We're also about the really clever ways of doing things in a really simple way at Springwise, and seaweed and all the kind of the properties of all of that. So I'm very excited to explore that ocean content and theme at ChangeNOW in 2021. That's going to be extraordinary. So I'm really good to hear about that, Santiago. In terms of this year and the challenges that you face from not being able to be in the beautiful Grand Palais and to even be near the Eiffel Tower in a new destination this year, how are you thinking about that, and how are you navigating it to give this extraordinary exposition the energy and dynamism of last year or of other years in a different way?
Yeah, well, that's a fair point, because you mentioned at the beginning that at ChangeNOW a lot of people are joining together, and that you have a sense of energy, and that you feel that everyone is here to find solutions for the planet. This is something that you really feel there. And every year we are at the same moment, just a few days before the event, saying, okay, we did everything we could to gather the right people at that moment, but we don't know if the magic will operate and that everyone will be willing to work together.
Yeah.
And thing is that people are coming with this mindset that yes, indeed, they are coming super open-minded, super willing to act, etc. In digital, this is just increasing this aspect. Is the magic operating in digital? Well, we are working a lot to make it happen. First, in terms of content, I think that digital has been also a super opportunity for us
Yep.
to reach out to so many other speakers we couldn't have, present in the venue.
Yep.
And among these people, I could just mention Nemonte Nenkimo, which is who is a leader, indigenous leader in the Amazonian region. She will give her talk directly from the Amazon.
Wow.
That's super cool, and also people who just couldn't fit coming to Paris in their agenda, they will be here, and this among and I can just mention Geoffrey Sachs from the UN, for example,
Yep.
the Prince Albert II of Monaco, and John Diliu. Also, we were talking about regenerative agriculture. So we have a lot of people that can join and
Yep.
bring their knowledge to the community, and for us is super exciting.
I think that's so powerful, and the thought of having someone from the Amazon talking, and one of the most impactful things I've done in my life is to go and spend time in the Amazon and in camp, and go up to Manaus and places, and just to meet some of the indigenous people. And I think it's such a beautiful and important part of the world, and to be able to bring that, and I'm sure I can almost see the images. I'm imagining them, and I think what's fascinating about the kind of the whole event space this year is it has allowed you organizers to kind of bring different people from around the world, and also attract as attendees as well. And of course the carbon footprint will be massively alleviated, which I guess is good. And there will be new ways of traveling. I'm sure after COVID, people will travel maybe less and be more intelligent about their travel. But I will definitely be looking forward to joining in person, because I can of course go on Eurostar as well, which means that I have less carbon impact. But how do you see, where would you see ChangeNOW in like 3 or 4 years? What's your kind of broader ambition, Santiago, for what you're doing?
Well, I think that we're putting in place a lot of things towards that direction. I will tell you a bit more after that. But also, I think that one of the things that are super exciting about what's happening in this edition in digital is that beyond the content we're gathering, and it will be 500 speakers and also workshops, it's a fair amount. It's huge. But if you are not interested in the content we bring, well, there's also the other thing is that we managed to gather, because we love to make friends and collaborate at ChangeNOW. That's super important. Collaboration at ChangeNOW, and this is where we are going for the 5 next years, is that we are gathering a lot of other events on that platform, meaning that you can come to ChangeNOW And when you want, you will be able to go to the event organized by B Corp, for example,
Yep.
the event organized by he for she. If you're really into gender equality, you will be able to go into well, we'll have around 20 to 30 summits inside the summit organized by other key players in the world, like One Person for the Planet, One New World, and many others.
So we're a member of 1% for the Planet, and we're also a B Corp. Springwise is a B Corp, and we so we'll be excited to see those. And I think that idea of uniting those communities, all of whom are after positive change, is so powerful. And the other thing that I guess the corporates and the startups will also learn is that being part of the 1% for the Planet or B Corp really makes a big difference to the way you run a business, the way you engage and motivate employees, and actually the way you differentiate with clients. In our case, we find it extremely powerful. And one final sort of thought before we have to run, around generational shift. So one of my theories is that the big change is coming with the new generations and the new generations of leaders, and that kind of different way of thinking. A corporate culture, and certainly the leadership of some of the big businesses and government, there are many kind of people in their 50s who've done things in a certain way. There's a very sort of strong consumer, financially driven culture. I mean, I'm being very broad here, and also with the investment community. But I think the investment community are moving now, which is good. But how are you seeing generational shift in what you're doing, and is that a thing, or is it just it's people who are spiritually involved in what you're doing, and that's what it's about?
Well, youth is definitely pretty well involved in what we are doing. I would just bring some a nuance maybe in this, which is that I've met last year with one of the directors of a huge media dedicated to the younger generations, and he was saying, okay, today the really young generations, 15 years old, are already saying, look, this is the next generation will have to solve the issue. They are already
wow.
Yeah, they are already saying, okay, we can't do anything. It will be the next generation. And I think that my generation and our generation has the responsibility to show and to initiate the path toward transition, because this is only this way that we will be able to motivate again the younger generations towards a bigger action. And if we don't do anything, I'm not sure we're showing the right examples for them to really act. So for me, this is the generational shift will happen only if we do our part already.
I completely agree with you, and I think it is our responsibility to, because we're now at the top of our professions and our businesses, it's our responsibility to set that direction and actually to get as much done while we can. And I also think, and it's another topic, but education is really, really important, and embedding this agenda in the education system. I don't know if you see any of that happening or beginning to happen, or you're thinking about that at ChangeNOW.
Yes, definitely. And this also comes back a bit to your questions to where we are going in 5 years. We are deploying this year a new program, and one of our priorities is more about younger generations, where we're working on at 3 levels. One which is at the level of high school, how we can really start bringing the flame for involvement at high school level, how we can really give much more visibility on how we can choose the right universities to really be prepared for a career impact. And so to do that, we have just launched 10 days ago the first ranking here in France of the schools and universities to change the world. So this is also something that we really want to to create so the students can really make correct choices, you know? And so they are prepared then for the third level of our priority, which is starting a career. So with our job fairs and job boards,
Yep.
and in the digital event in 1 month, there will be a job fair. So if you're interested in finding a job in impact, you can maybe do it in the digital platform.
To be able to show the path to a career in impact, and to have, again, places where you can connect and with the right companies who are doing the right thing and the right organizations, because they of course don't need to always be companies, is incredibly powerful, and really, really excited to hear that, Santiago. So thank you for sharing. Is there anything else before we wrap up that you want to tell our audience about ChangeNOW 2021 and what they need to do and where to find you and all of that?
Well, yeah. Well, the first thing is I would just add that I think that life becomes just so fulfilling when you start doing impact. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
So I recommend people to join in, and maybe one of the great ways to join in the sector is to come to ChangeNOW 2021, which is at the end of the month of May, 27th, 28th, and 29th. It's free access with a lot of huge, great content, with a lot of networking opportunities, with a film festival, with a job fair, with many things in arts also. So for sure, we'll spend a great time even online. So you're all welcome.
Well, look, Santiago, thank you so much. We really are looking forward to it. We're all going from Springwise and Reset, and we're spreading the word as much as we can to support you and to be there with you. And congratulations again to all of your team, because it's, of course, I've met quite a lot of your team, and it's always a great team effort, isn't it? And you have amazing people who seem so committed and dedicated.
Yeah. Amazing team. We have 20 people right now. We're really working very hard, night and days, to make something huge happen.